if you want to succeed in life, you need to understand these three key principles. And if you can't even watch like a 10-minute video, you have the fucking attention span of like a frog. You have way more issues than success to worry about. Nonetheless, I'm gonna get straight into it because I've literally made this formula from like multiple different endeavors and seeing like what actually works. And for the longest time, I thought the success formula for me was going to be consistency, persistence, and refinement. What I mean by that is consistency is literally if you do the same actions over and over and over again, you will eventually yield success because that's all success is. It's repeated actions over a long period of time. Persistence obviously is not quitting, right? Where it's like if you simply don't quit, it's impossible to lose. Think about that. Like if you just keep playing the game, if you keep trying to win, you will eventually win. Even if you lost, failed 10, 15 times, it's like a win or success is going to come at the end because you only need to win once, you only need to succeed once, even though you can fail multiple times. This is like trial and error, course correction, all of that, right? And refinement is the last one where it's like if you are doing something continuously, you will naturally improve upon it, where it's like because you're doing it so much time, you're able to see little errors and nuances and you're able to learn from it, where you're like, oh, if I just do it a little bit this way, it actually feels better, right? Like if you're in the gym, if you keep doing the same workout, you'll be able to see like what has better form, what gives you better contractions. If you keep making the same cake recipe, you'll be able to, oh, if I add another egg here, if I add less flour there, right? It's like if you just keep doing the same things, refinement naturally happens, and refinement is necessary in order for you to actually see success. Because if you don't refine, you don't improve, then nothing happens, right? Nothing changes. If you just kept doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, and you were expecting better or different results, that's like you being insane, right? It's like you being crazy, because you're like, how could you expect different results from doing the same things, right? If you put 10 in, 10's gonna come out, right? Like you need to do something different. And so for the longest time, that was like the formula I kind of used, and it's like it's good. It's given me a good amount of success in like different endeavors, like the gym, mindset, reading, school, work, all that stuff, right? But when you come across like things that have like more moving parts, like business or dating or like content or whatever it may be, there's more moving parts and there's like other factors that you need to really consider, and that's what I've been working on recently, and it's been like a really big like element of my life where it's like I can't like seem to like beat the resistance, or like I'm not doing as much as I should be, and I'm like aware of this now, and I finally figured out like why I'm not seeing the success that I want, right? So the consistency, persistence, and refinement is like more like nature, like natural for me, right? Like for me, doing the same thing over and over again, like routine is kind of easy, right? Like we as humans are naturally inclined to stay committed and consistent, right? Persistence is like if you really want the thing, you're just not gonna quit, right? It's like if you're playing a video game and you like really want that victory royale, you really want to win the game. It's like, are you gonna quit? You know, you're gonna keep playing, right? And if you played video games, you have that mindset where like I'm just not gonna fucking quit, fuck it, right? And refinement is just happens naturally, right? It's like if you keep doing the same things over and over again, the nuances are in time improved. But today I finally realized in terms of consistency, a subset of it is volume, where it's like a mass majority of people will quit before they do enough volume, and that's the actual reason why they didn't see success. Not because they weren't good enough, not because they weren't smart enough, not because they didn't try hard enough or they didn't put enough time in. It's literally just volume, where it's like, you know, the whole idea of like quantity or quality. Quality comes from quantity, and quantity is simply volume, right? If you are not doing enough of something, you simply will not be able to yield results, right? Like even Alex Hormozy, like this really big entrepreneur, talks about the idea of like doing 100 of something, where it's like whatever task you have to do 100 of them, right? Before you like quit or like pivot, where it's like if you want to get good at shooting ball, right? If you want to be better at basketball, shoot 100 times, right? If you want to take 100 free kicks, do 100 cold calls, post 100 pieces of content, right? Like you have to do 100 or something, because that's like an adequate amount of volume, and from the 100 you're able to take like the top 10%, right? And then you're able to like analyze and say, okay, like, how can we do this again? And then you do 100 again, and then you take top 10% of that, and then over time you just get better. But it's like it just takes time for you to actually do that 100, and it's like most people don't even do the 100. Most people will quit before, like they'll do like 5 or 10. Like if I told you like for you to get a girlfriend or something, you need to talk to 100 girls, but then you like went about and like talked to like one girl every day for like a week, and then you're like, oh, this doesn't work. It's like, no, like if you talk to 100 girls over 100 days, you would have easily gotten a girl. And more often than not, you'll see that you don't even need all 100 days, and you're able to talk to more than one girl in one day. So like you can really start chopping down the tree of 100 if you just really get over that human inertia and understand that I need to do 100 of this in order for me to actually get good at like speaking in that case, right? So like it's just focusing on volume. Like how can I, like what would be a number? The number is 100, right? It's like what number of 100 do I have to do with something, right? What units? And if you can just kind of like get your mind to think about that, it's kind of easier for your brain to be like, oh, I have to do 100 swimming laps, I have to do 100 minutes of cardio, I have to do 100 text messages, whatever. It does not matter, right? It's like just do 100 of it. and you will be able to yield either results, or at least you'll be able to see what actually got something like a better result than like the other 90. Next one is don't avoid, right? Like for me, the whole idea of persistence was never like an issue. Like quitting, if you really want to go, why would you ever quit, right? It's like just keep going, right? Especially if you have like big goals where they like take like longer timelines, there would be no reason for you to quit. But the issue is actually not in quitting, it's in starting, which was so fascinating when I figured it out, because it was like, it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, just don't quit, bro, just don't quit. But it's like nobody tells you like, you kind of have to start, right? Starting is actually the hard part, right? It's not like once you're in the gym, it's easy to keep going to the gym, but the hard part is getting into the gym, right? Once you're in business, it's kind of easy to like maintain and like be productive, be focused, but it's like it's hard like starting that business, right? Like figuring out what to do, right? It's not hard to like have a friend or like a girl that you're like talking to and seeing, or it's like where it's like it's kind of like normalized within your like your brain, where it's not foreign anymore, it's not hard, right? But it's like approaching her, starting that conversation, having that like opener. That's where the hard part is, right? Especially for like me, I guess, where it's like starting was the hard part. And so it was like more often than not, I didn't find myself quitting tasks. I found myself not starting them, right? Because it was like, if you only can like focus on success and you're like too scared of failure or too scared of risk, you won't even pursue the thing, right? You won't even be like, you're just going to keep avoiding the thing. You're going to be like, I don't even want to do it, because if I do it, I might fail, right? If I do it, I might be responsible for this thing. If I do it and I succeed, what will I have to do thereafter, right? Or it's like, you're like scared, but it's like, you have to kind of get the ball rolling, because if you just sit there in analysis paralysis, nothing happens, right? You're just thinking about your thoughts. Like, you're just wasting time, right? You're just being a bum. And it's like, that's not going to help you do anything. All that you can really do is just take action, move forward, and like see what happens in reality, right? Because like you can think and like simulate, but it's like it won't ever change your reality, right? Until you finally do the thing, then you'll finally figure out if this is something you want to keep doing, if this is something you don't want to do, if you need to pivot, like whatever. You just need to take action, because it's like without action, nothing happens. And it's like, just don't avoid. So volume, don't avoid. And the last one, this one is so like simple, but it's like crazy, because the whole idea of refinement, the actual subset is literally just trying. And this sounds crazy, but it's like trying, pursuing, just putting an effort into your adventure. And it's like, sometimes you will be naturally motivated, but you won't always be motivated like in the beginning. And I was thinking about this the other day while I was in the gym, where I was like, there was a guy next to me and he was doing bicep curls, and he kept staring at me because I was also doing bicep curls. But like my biceps look fucking huge when I'm like pumped, and like I was like doing like 50s and he was doing like 20s, right? And he looked like a little bit upset or whatever, but it was like, you realize that no matter what level you're at, like how deep you are into your journey, everybody's still doing the same basic principles, right? But it's just like, it looks better when I'm doing it than when he's doing, because maybe I did more volume, I perfected my form, I have more vein, I look more vascular. But it's like, if he just keeps doing it, he will get to my point. There's like it's guaranteed, right? It's like he will build bigger muscle. But it's like when you're in the beginning, it's so hard to be like, oh, am I doing this correctly? Is this the correct principle? It's like, if you understand the basics and you just keep doing the basics over enough time, you will see success, right? And it's like, but in the beginning, you don't want to try, right? You don't want to put in the effort, right? You're in the gym, you're like, oh, like that guy, he's like, look how big he is, right? I want to be that big, but it's like you don't want to even put in the effort because you're at the bottom, right? It's very hard to like cultivate that confidence where you're like, I need to win, I need to make this work, I need to succeed when you're at the very bottom. But it actually gets easier with time, right? Which is it's bad, because like with time, naturally it gets easier anyway. And the most important time for you to like actually like put in a lot of effort is at the very beginning, which is when it's the hardest, because you're like, you don't know if it's working, you don't know if you're going to succeed, you don't know if you're doing things correctly. But if you just simply were like delusional, or you turned your brain off enough for you to be like, you know what, I know this is not perfect, but I'm just gonna this is the basics, this is what the top people are doing, these are the principle like mechanics, I'm just gonna keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm just gonna try to win. And if I just keep doing this, eventually I will win. And that's really the mentality that you need to have, right? It's like, even in a video game, like in Fortnite, if you like did 90s, or like you were building forts or whatever, right, and you was like shooting, the things that you're doing are the exact same things that the pros are doing, but the pros just do it better because they do it like faster, because they've done it more. But it's like, all you have to do is just do it more, which goes right back to volume, right? And like, if you just keep trying and you keep putting in effort and you just like simply have intention in what you are doing, you will win. Like, and it's like, if you can just understand those three concepts, consistency, persistence, refinement, or the subsets, volume, don't avoid, and actually trying, I swear to God, you will, whatever endeavor you want in life, you will win. Fitness, business, dating, it does not fucking matter. In the end, you're gonna fucking win.